and welcome back to Emmy Law's YouTube channel, your go-to source for valuable insights on legal matters. My name is May, and I am your host, founder, and principal lawyer of Emmy Law. And today we're going to be discussing key insights into commercial litigation. There is so much you could talk about in this area because it encompasses many areas of law. For example, contract disputes, shareholder disputes, and other corporate litigation issues, tort claims, technology-related disputes, and so forth. Commercial litigation can be complex and challenging, requiring a deep understanding of the law and effective strategies for resolution. Today we'll provide key insights from a Toronto legal expert, myself, to help you navigate the world of commercial litigation. There's a lot at stakes when it comes to commercial litigation. Not only is it document intensive, but it requires the skills of a lawyer who can review the extensive documents, unpack the documents, and pull out the most important legal issues. The successes in commercial litigation not only comes from the ability of knowing your client's legal issue, but also with the ability of organizing and knowing your client's file inside and out. When you're dealing with a legal issue that has documents that span 10 to 20 years, reviewing and organizing documents should be the first thing you do. Commercial litigation involves disputes between businesses or individuals over commercial matters, as mentioned, such as contracts, transactions, and business relationships. You must review your client's documents to really understand their legal issue. A client might come in and say, "We have a potential legal issue related to our shareholders." A lawyer who practices in commercial litigation might ask additional questions, but will always ask the client to provide them with more than just a simple discussion. So you will need to have your documents prepared in advance so that you're not providing your counsel with documents in a piecemeal fashion. Counsel can only advise you clearly and properly if they have the chance to review those documents. The moment you speak to your lawyer about your potential legal issue, your lawyer is already thinking about your action plan. And that is why it's important to have experienced legal representation assisting you with your commercial litigation problem. A knowledgeable lawyer can help you understand your rights, assess your options, and advocate on your behalf. I've dealt with a number of claims that came through my door in which lawyers have, are seeking so many things. They haven't really narrowed down their clients' actual issues and have put in so many things that they're seeking for their clients. So I think for me that is that's not the proper way forward. I think you should narrow down what it is that your client's issues are, and then what their best evidence is to proceed in getting what they're proceed in helping them deal with their issue. Because if you put everything out there, it's going to be very difficult for opposing counsel to really know what your client's issues are and to really address those issues that your clients are dealing with. So I think it's really important to sit with the client and really know the client's issues. Now, the moment you speak to your lawyer, the lawyer is, like I said, they're thinking about an action plan that they want to take on your behalf. So that action plan, it can entail, like, let's write a letter, or let's, do an opinion because you have time. You don't have time, let's preserve your rights in the court. Let's do X, Y, Z. But, if we do that now, we're going to have to potentially amend. We're going to have to we're going to have to take it this direction. So if your client knows what you're doing as well and gives you instructions to do that specific thing that they need you to do, it's fine. But also tell your client that, listen, like, we have to potentially amend because we need to review everything. So if you're stuck for time, then you need to do certain things at certain times. Okay. Now, in order for that commercial disputes, alternative dispute resolution, and I'm going to say this consistently, is the best method to resolve, I would say, a commercial dispute matter, whether it's already started the litigation or it's a matter that you need to do alternative dispute resolution as part of what's already in the contracts is a form of dealing with a dispute. I think it's very, very important that that is a step you take before you go to court and fight in court, because it is it costs less. It could be a method of doing things much faster and then doing the actual traditional litigation. It's important too that you look at risk management as a way to deal with any conflicts that arise in commercial litigation. So you need to take effective steps to have effective strategies related to risk management. And these risk managements can help you can help you deal with disputes, whether they disputes before they arise or if they arise, and when they arise, and how they arise. So I think the first step is to have a risk management tool that you have established in your commercial entity. I think that what happens in that risk management tool, it does decrease the litigation. It does decrease disputes. You can't stop litigation disputes from arising, but it does help you decrease. And it also helps you look at your business differently. So it helps you look at, like, what is the risk management steps I can take, for example, when I'm drafting, when contracts are being drafted, when we need to comply with regulations, when we need to maintain communication, or how do we maintain communication to reduce those risks with our business partners. So if you minimize your risks through a management of those risks, then you have taken steps in the right direction for minimizing disputes or potential disputes. You know what? No, not everyone's going to be happy. So even if you do, like I said, take all these risk management, you're still going to potentially face disputes, but it would be real disputes with real issues that you might have not really anticipated. So it's always important to anticipate any of these issues propping up. You also need to look at, funding is a big aspect in litigation. Can you fund litigation? Can you fund, years and years of court battling out, right? Let's say you're a big company, you're a public company, you have lots of shareholders, and there's a massive shareholder dispute, right? Can you fund that? Does a corporation have money to fund the litigation? So it's important that, like I said, alternative dispute resolutions are becoming more a tool that's being used more, and also it keeps the privacy of the parties. Like, the public doesn't have to know about the issues the parties are facing. So I think that that's a better way to go. And also, it still costs, but it's a lot less than going to trial, both on a public image side and also on the cost side. Now, you need to also look at, in commercial litigation, there's things like international considerations, right? In an increasing globalized world, commercial disputes can have international implications, and you need to understand, if it's an international company, right? You need to understand the relevant laws and regulations in different jurisdictions, which can be used to assist in any cross-border disputes, right? There's also things like, if you represent, big organizations that are part of the international, they use the international arbitration rules, right? So you need to familiarize yourself with those specific rules if you do the arbitration side of things. There's also, like, technology and litigation, right? Technology is definitely playing an increasingly important role in commercial litigation, i.e. organizing documents, right? You have, let's say, e-discovery, you have digital evidence. It's becoming more prevalent in cases. You also have ways where companies are tracking more of what their employees do online, which can, if you're stealing proprietary information or you're doing things that you're not supposed to do, that increases, and it's clearly you're not supposed to do these things because you sign agreements and so forth, and the agreements actually have your signatures on it. then those are potential litigation disputes. So commercial disputes. So you need to ensure that you have policies and procedures in place for that, but you also have the risk management side of things in that, and you also need to look at what do you deal when you have conflicts arising in that. So like I said, it can become complex. You have securities litigation, you have shareholders disputes, you have so many things can fall under commercial litigation. So it's important that you have the right strategies in place, you have the right counsel guidance in place, and you can definitely navigate your disputes effectively, and you can protect your interests. Now, Toronto is a major hub in Canada for a lot of the big corporations. It is an area sought out by a lot of individuals when it comes to retaining counsel to deal with, let's say you're in a US company, you have a contract with someone in Canada, in Toronto per se, and you're relying on Ontario rules, you are looking for an Ontario lawyer to assist you. And I think that the best lawyers are in Toronto for this type of stuff. So, like I'm one of them. So if you, you can, always make sure you have like a lawyer on your side. And it's not really like, I always tell like my commercial clients, my corporate clients, choosing a lawyer doesn't necessarily mean, you're choosing a big firm. You could choose, you choose a lawyer. You choose a lawyer, right? So if you like a lawyer, that's the lawyer you want to work with, you have the right to choose that lawyer, right? So just cause, there's big firms out there doesn't mean that you have to go to a big firm because they have the support. I think even if you choose a lawyer that doesn't work in a big firm that, has the technology and is an up and coming, firm, and they're good at what they do and they put your interests first, they can always, you can always say, as a client, I want, this big firm to work with this lawyer who isn't a big, in a big firm. And, 99% of the time they're open to doing that. So the big firms are open to do that. And, I'm open to doing that, right? So there is that ability to have that relationship that you want to have, and so forth. Now we we do deal with complex matters here at ME Law. So we do take on complex commercial matters, and sometimes our matters are actually they overlap with other areas of law. So, real estate disputes, right? Though that's a big thing in commercial litigation, right? You have commercial tenancy disputes. You have, a lot of oppression claims, right? You have, it doesn't matter what the difference between a bigger, company and a small company is really the amount of paperwork, right? The amount of departments a bigger company has, a small company doesn't have, right? So, but the law is the same, right? It applies the same across the board, right? So it's very important that, when you're looking for a lawyer that does, commercial disputes, you look for the traits, like, what am I going to get out of, hiring this lawyer versus not hiring this lawyer, right? So we tailor our advice to different individuals, right? So just, if you have one problem in one area, for example, shareholder dispute, you potentially have another problem that's spinning off from that problem. So you need to understand that when a lawyer assesses, so you might come to a lawyer that, and tell them, I have this, issue here, then the lawyer is going to say, well, it might be a derivative action. It's not really, necessarily just on that. So you might have an action for the corporation, to represent. You might have the fact that maybe terms of employment or terms of an agreement are not set right. So you're going to have you might have issues with the shareholder agreement. So it just spins off. So it's really important for whoever you retain to do this, your commercial dispute, that they understand that it might not just be one issue. It might be multiple issues that really stem from that one issue. So it's really important that everything gets explored. So remember, today's information isn't legal advice. If you need personalized guidance, reach out to us by visiting us on our website at www.melaw.ca. If you enjoyed this video, love it if you subscribe to our channel, you like our video. We produce, we put out there legal content information on, things you need to look out for when picking a lawyer, different areas of law that we practice exclusively in, and we provide guidance on that. Sometimes we have special guests, so we have a bunch of things going on. Thank you for watching our video. Until then, take care.